Ascot's a winner. The kitty cat cats were perplexed. There had been an unmistakable buzz of excitement in town all week. Yet despite their best efforts, they had not been able to find out why. Ginger had taken Tiger's squadron on numerous sweeps across town, yet could report nothing. Bogart had gone to town, lurking in alleyways, hoping to pick up a cast-off snippet of information. At the end of the week, though, he had to admit that, "Here's looking at no news, kid." Snowy had, rather bravely everyone thought, faced up to the hazards of the North Wall in broad daylight. Yet even at the very peak, with the town spread out below, he couldn't make head or tail of it at all. Of course, they had sent Stanley out as well. But although Stanley was a natural explorer, he never actually seemed to find anything. Ascot sighed. "We'll never find out what's going on." "What do you mean by we?" bristled Ginger. "I haven't seen you doing anything, Ascot." "Now, look here, Ginger," said Ascot timidly. Snowy stepped in quickly. "There's no point in arguing. Let's call it a day." But Ascot, stunned by his friend's accusation, turned away from them. "I'll show you," he cried. "I'll show you all." And with that, he was gone. "Oh dear," said Snowy. "Don't do anything silly, Ascot." But Ascot didn't hear. He just ran and ran and ran, jumping fences, hurdling walls, scurrying across gardens, scaling bridges, until quite exhausted, he realized he was completely lost. Even worse, he was surrounded by strangers. Confused and more than a little frightened, he darted for shelter into the first dark corner he could find, and lay there shivering. It was a room of some kind, and he knew he wasn't alone. What on earth made noises like that? Surely it had to be a dragon. Wishing he'd never run away at all, Ascot curled up into a leather bag lying near him on the floor. He'd be safe now. Next minute, though, things got even worse. The door opened. "Let's get your saddlebags on, boy," said a voice, and there was an answering whinny from the dragon. Ascot felt himself lifted from the floor. Frantically, he tried to peek out. "Help!" he called softly. But he knew that Snowy and the others were miles away and couldn't help at all. The next few moments were a nightmare of noise, and still Ascot was in the dark. There was a clanking sound, and someone said, "They're off!" And at that moment, Ascot managed to poke his nose out of the saddlebag. He screamed. He was on the dragon's back, way off the ground, and they were thundering across a huge lawn. And coming up was a giant hedge, which they were sure to plough straight into. "Oh no! We're taking off!" called Ascot, and watched horrified as they sailed high over the hedge and landed on another vast lawn. And at the end of this lawn, another giant hedge. Enough, said Ascot. Just as they reached the next hedge, he worked himself through and found himself flying through the air. He was over the hedge and, "Oh no, not that! Hours later, a bedraggled Ascot found his way home, meeting Snowy and the others at the gate. "What happened? Why are you so wet?" "I've been flying on a dragon," said Ascot. "Gosh," said Snowy. And even Ginger had to admit that Ascot had shown phenomenal bravery. Ascot suddenly felt much better about life. Yes, he had been brave, hadn't he? A familiar voice called out, "Ascot! Kitty cat!" "Salmon today, Ascot," she said, as he came through the starting gate. "Great," thought Ascot, "so long as I don't have to go fishing for it myself."